What's going on? Mitchell Renz here from Chat Sports, and today's show is brought to you by our good friends and sponsor, BetDSI, the internet's #1 sportsbook. I got a six-pack of NFL rumors that I'm ready to crack open for you guys, and I'm starting it off with Antonio Brown, and is he going to be going to the Denver Broncos? So the Steelers have been considering trade requests for AB, and now there's a new report that the Broncos could be interested in trading for Antonio Brown. Now, we have to remember that there's 3 years left on a 4-year deal and that $68 million contract for Brown. The biggest obstacle, though, in a potential Antonio Brown trade is the $21 million in dead cap space the Steelers will face if they move the all-pro wide receiver in any kind of deal. It doesn't matter how they handle it. If Brown is dealt, the Steelers will use somewhat between 8 and 10% of their cap space on a star receiver playing for somebody else. So some of the teams that are interested in Brown are the Jets, the Colts, the 49ers, but according to Rappaport, it could be the Denver Broncos, could be leading the way, and it's an interesting team. But when you look at Antonio Brown's 2018 season, I mean, this guy's a baller, right? 104 catches, 1,297 yards, 12.5 yards per reception, and then a career-high 15 touchdowns. Antonio Brown shows up every single year. Heck, he's had over 100 receptions and over 1,250 yards in 6 straight years. And then his career stats are just eye-popping. 837 receptions, over 11,000 yards, 74 touchdowns. Absolutely incredible career so far for Antonio Brown. But that's with Big Ben and the Steelers and an incredible offense. I'm not sure how much he's going to like playing with Case Keenum and the Denver Broncos, so that could be TBD. But I got a question for y'all. Where will Antonio Brown play in 2019? We're talking about a lot of rumors. Heck, I released my top 5 teams for Antonio Brown just a few days ago, so don't be afraid to check that out at Chat Sports on YouTube. But, I mean, they were talking about the Colts. There's 49ers, there's the Falcons, there's all these other freaking teams that are around there. Where is Antonio Brown going to play in 2019? I want to know from you. And if you want to know from me, DM me on Twitter and Instagram at MitchellRenz365. Going to give a shout out to today's sponsor, BetDSI, the internet's #1 sportsbook. Go to chatsports.com/bet and use that promo code LIVE120 for a 120% deposit bonus. You put down $50, you're going to get $60 for free. Put down $100, get $120 for free. Put down $500, get $600 for free. Shout out to BetDSI for going up Chat Sports with the best promo code on the internet. My next rumor is again around Antonio Brown. And this one's a little bit more fun. So let's have a laugh here. Let's have some fun. And is he going to go to the Atlanta Falcons? Well, Michael Irvin wants AB and Julio to team up. And he says that, hey, basically if people in the NBA can do it now, why can't NFL players as well? And here's the only issue, though. Michael, you're not the wide receiver that probably matters the most in this. And Julio Jones came out and said that he just doesn't really want the Falcons to pursue Antonio Brown, and it has nothing to do with Antonio Brown's skill set. I think it just has more to do with that the Falcons' biggest need is not a big-time wide receiver. They really struggled on offense, and they really struggled on defense, but some of that was due to injuries. But I really don't think that they need another wide receiver because Calvin Ridley in his rookie year, who they also drafted in the first round of 2018, played actually pretty well. But if AB and Julio Jones were to team up, would there even be enough footballs to go around for these two? Because when you look at just the last 3 years, these guys have been incredible. I mean, Julio Jones, 448 targets to Antonio Brown's 485. Receptions, 284 to 311. The yards is where Julio gets the edge over AB, 4,530 to 4,114. Touchdowns, though, I'll blame this maybe a little bit on the Falcons and Steve Sarkisian, but 17 touchdowns to AB's 36, and then yards per catch. Julio's at 16, 13.2 for Antonio Brown. But Julio, AB, going to the Falcons, I don't really see it happening. So here are my top 5 teams for Antonio Brown. Now, I updated these before when I first released this. I had the Detroit Lions at 5, but now with the new news around the Denver Broncos being a top leader, I've put them into my top 5. So it's the New York Jets at 5, the Oakland Raiders at 4, the Indianapolis Colts at 3, the Denver Broncos at 2, and the 49ers at 1. Now, a lot of these have to do with cap space and where teams are going to be headed going in the future. I will say this. I would actually be kind of surprised if the Broncos were to make the move because I don't really think that they're in win-now mode, and they don't really have as much money as some of these other teams on the board. So I'm talking about Antonio Brown, Julio Jones. Who's better? I want to know from you. Who's better? Who's the better wide receiver, Antonio Brown or Julio Jones? If you're watching on Facebook, give me a like for Brown or give me a heart for Julio Jones. If you're watching this on YouTube, give me in the comment sections Brown or Jones. Hell, anywhere you're watching this video, who's the better wide receiver, Antonio Brown or Julio Jones? Next rumor up here on the board is around Rob Gronkowski, and is Gronk going to retire? So luckily us, right, we get 2 straight years of retirement drama for Gronk, which means plenty of off-season rumors around Gronk, and I love covering Gronk. There's no doubt about that. And according to NFL.com, Gronk will be seriously mulling over the possibility of retiring after the 2018 season ends in New England. Here's the thing though, Gronk even said it himself. If Tom Brady retires, he might end up doing that as well. So I think the really key thing to look at here is what's going to happen with Tom Brady. And as I look over in the corner of my eye, Tom Brady and the Patriots are absolutely whooping the Chargers right now, and he looks totally fine. And I don't know if Tom looks even close to 41. So I think if Tom's going to come back next year, he's going to kind of, nudge Gronk a little bit and be like, hey, man, stick around. Let's go for another ride. I don't see why we have to give up. And if the Patriots win the Super Bowl, though, maybe it's a little bit of a different option. But when you look at this past year for Gronk, it was not a typical Gronk smash year. 72 targets, 47 catches, 682 yards, and only 3 touchdowns. That's not really what you expect from what some people would consider the best tight end in the NFL. Heck, I've even heard floated around that Gronk's the best tight end ever. I'm not going to go that far. But when you look at his career stats from a receiving end, it is incredible. 795 targets, 521 receptions, 7,861 yards, and then 79 touchdowns. Like, Gronk has no doubt been an absolute red zone monster, and he's been Tom Brady's best option. I think every year Tom Brady's been in the NFL, minus that 1 year he had Randy Moss. So if Gronk's going to go, I'll be upset. But also, I don't necessarily blame Gronk because, let's face it, the dude has been banged up, and he's been hurt realistically ever since 2011. I mean, he played his first 2 years, he played all 16 games. But since 2011, this is the amount of games that he's missed. In 2012, he missed 5 games. In 2013, he missed 9. Then in 2014 and 2015, sure, he was able to play 15 games. But then over the last 3 years, I mean, he missed 8 games in 2016, he missed 2 games in 2017, and he missed 3 games in 2018. And even some of the games that he's playing in, he just doesn't look healthy. He just looks like a big robot. And at that point in your career, if you're just that banged up, and I think Gronk's going to go on and do other great things like maybe be in the WWE, but I ultimately think if Gronk wants to get out of the NFL, maybe move on because he's banged up, I don't necessarily blame him. So I said some people think Gronk's the best tight end in the NFL, and I want to know, who is the best tight end in the NFL right now? Is it Travis Kelce? Is it Zach Ertz? Is it Rob Gronkowski? Heck, is it Eric Ebron? Who knows? And I want to know from you, who's the best tight end in the NFL? Comment below. If you guys think that I look good today, it's because of our sponsor, Mizzen & Main. Go to www.comfortable.af because these dress shirts are indeed comfortable as F. They have sweat wicking technology. They're unbelievably stretchy. You can't get them wrinkly. You can sleep in these bad boys. You can wake up the next morning and come to work, just like I did, and nobody's even going to be able to tell. Go to www.comfortable.af to see for yourself, and also chicks dig them too. And I'll be honest, I got a date after this, so I'm trying to wrap up these rumors. My next rumor here is around Kyler Murray, and is Murray not going to enter the NFL draft? So the deadline for underclassmen to declare for the 2019 NFL draft is only a day away, and the Oakland A's are reportedly doing what they can to keep Heisman winner Kyler Murray on a baseball diamond instead of the gridiron. Now, this is going to be led by baseball operations Billy Beane, and the A's are reportedly meeting with Murray Sunday, January 13th, to try to be like, yo, Murray, why don't you stay with the A's, don't enter the draft. And the A's selected Murray, I don't know if you remember this, 9th overall, and signed him to a $4.66 million deal, or gave him a $4.6 million signing bonus. But after one of the greatest seasons in college football history, he's legitimately weighing out his options and enter the NFL draft. But again, as I said, the deadline to declare for the draft is Monday, January 14th. So if he's going to end up making this decision, it's going to be coming in these next few days. And I loved watching Kyler Murray this past year. But he's also super talented for baseball, and I think if you have a long career in baseball, we're seeing it right now with contracts like Manny Machado, Bryce Harper. It's just stupid money. But if Kyler Murray loves football and that's where his heart is, I don't necessarily blame him, because when you look at what he did this past year from passing standpoint, a nice completion percentage there, 4,361 yards, 42 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, right? But oh wait, there's also the running ability, 140 carries, 1,001 yards, 12 touchdowns, 7.2 yards per carry. He can run, he can pass, dude could do it all. So what should Kyler Murray do? I think it's a good problem to have, right? Heck, if I was sitting in his shoes a few years ago being like, can I play in the NFL or MLB? Like, it's not the worst decision this kid could have. So what should Kyler Murray do? Type F for football, type B for baseball. Let me know in the comments section. If you know what I think, DM me on Twitter at MitchellRenz365. Next rumor here is around another quarterback still playing in college, and it's Tua. Are the Dolphins tanking for Tua? And it does kind of roll off the tongue, and not necessarily that I hate the idea, but I also kind of like it in the exact same vein. So the Dolphins know that they need to rebuild, and they're going to move on from Ryan Tannehill. However, there's no rush apparently. According to NFL ESPN Adam Schefter, the Dolphins are looking ahead to the 2020 NFL Draft, where they could end up drafting quarterback Tua Tagovailoa. And one of the big reasons is they want nothing to do with the 2019 quarterback class, and I don't necessarily blame them. It's led by Dwayne Haskins, and Dwayne Haskins is okay, but if Tua, Trevor Lawrence were to come out, we wouldn't even be talking about Dwayne Haskins, I think, potentially in the first round. So I like the idea of Tua, but if the Dolphins are tanking for Tua, maybe they should tank for Trevor. I'm just saying there. When you look at Tua's 2018 season, it was a pretty productive one. 69.5% completion percentage, 3,671 yards, 41 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. Ultimately, a pretty good college career, but just because somebody's successful in college doesn't always mean that they're going to be successful in the NFL. And I've heard some comparisons to Russell Wilson, which I like, but that also doesn't mean he's going to be the next Russell Wilson. So will Tua be a good NFL quarterback? Why don't you type Y for yes or type N for no? And if you have another NFL comparison for me, I would definitely appreciate it. Shout out to BetDSI for hooking up Chat Sports with the best promo code on the internet. Put down $50, you're going to get $60 for free. Put down $100, you get $120 for free. Put down $500, you get $600 for free when you use that promo code LIVE120 at chatsports.com/bet.